Hey y'all, I'm James Wright, and welcome to my shop. So how exactly did Wood by Wright and all of this happen? So to help you out with this video, I've split it up into three chunks. Number one, there is the woodworking history, how I got into it. Number two, there's the YouTube history of how did the channel actually get going. And number three, I have the things that I have learned from making YouTube channels. So if you are making YouTube videos and you want some help, that section's for you. So let us travel back in time to a wood shop far, far away in the distant year of 1989. My father had access to a wood shop that was fully stocked. Multiple table saws, massive thickness planer, dedicated routers, all the power tools you could ever want. And around the time I was 5, he started letting me come into the shop with him, and he would be making the furniture for his house, and I learned right alongside of him. And then when we moved, he started buying the tools, and we had a full shop at our house. And so I grew up around power tools. And neither my father nor I owned a hand plane. He had a set of chisels, but they were still in the plastic case and hanging on the pegboard. By the time I moved out of the house, I actually had most of the furniture I needed for my first house. On my own, I built my own shop. I bought my dad's old bandsaw so that he could buy a bigger one. I bought a table saw, I bought a thickness planer, I bought a jointer, I bought routers, I had all the power tools, and I was making furniture. I made furniture for a few other people. And I was thinking about maybe I should go into it as a business and actually make furniture as a business. But then we moved. And then we moved again, and then we moved again, and then we moved again, and then we moved again. And every time we moved, I sold off more tools because we were moving into a smaller house and a smaller house and a smaller house. And in my last house, I had no space for a shop, and I sold all of my tools. So I kind of assumed that maybe I'm done woodworking. But a little over 7 years ago, we moved into this house. And I have a small space in the basement here. It was about 10 foot by 10 foot at the time. And that should be about enough space to do some woodworking. In my old house, I actually had two shops. I had one that was 15 by 30, another one that was 15 by 30, and I could do fiberglass in one of them and woodworking in the other one. But 10 foot by 10 foot, how am I gonna fit in a table saw, a bandsaw, a joiner, a thickness planer, and all the other big tools? It was at this time I also became a stay-at-home dad. My last job was my absolute dream job. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, but I was making just barely enough to pay the babysitter to watch the kids while I was at work. So it was more advantageous for me to stay home and for Sarah to work. And kids drive me bonkers, so I needed something to occupy my brain. It was around that time I saw a video from a channel called Worth the Effort. If you haven't looked him up, you've got to. He's got an amazing trove of information over there. I'll leave a link to it down below. But he was making a simple drawer bottom grooving plane, and he did the entire thing without using any power tools. Now I thought, wait a second, how does one of these make that? That sent me down a massive information binge, and I learned everything I possibly could about hand tools. And now the YouTube half of the story. When I get a new hobby, and I often get new hobbies, I start a YouTube channel just to document my hobby. I don't do it to show it to anyone else. It is just me coming home and talking about what I just did so that I can document it for myself in the future and maybe send it off to other people if they're interested in the same thing. I was not envisioning anyone ever watching these videos. So if you go back and watch my first video, it is me bringing home this very plane and saying, okay, I'm gonna tear this apart and I'm gonna clean it and I'm gonna restore it. So if you go back and watch all of the videos on Wood by Wright, you will see my entire hand tool journey from my first plane to making many other planes. I assumed Wood by Wright would be just like every other channel I have because I have about 11 other channels, and most of them are just me simply documenting things because I want to. Most of them are dead because I'm no longer in that hobby. But in Wood by Wright, something weird happened. I got like 4 or 5 subscribers, and one of them asked a question in a comment. And that really confused me because that means someone was watching this dumb video. And his question was a good one. It was on sharpening. It was something that I had just learned and something I thought I could help him with. So rather than spelling it out in a long email, I actually thought, well, let's make a video. And I put out a video on it. In the comment to that video, then he asked me another question. And I thought, well, okay, I'll answer that with a video. And before I knew it, I was actually putting out 3 or 4 videos a week, answering questions and showing what I'm actually working on and showing what's happening in the shop. So for the first few months, I had gotten up to like 40, 50 subscribers, and I was having an absolute blast. I had a shop in my basement again. I was making things with hand tools. I was rediscovering my love for working with wood in a whole new method. I wasn't using power tools, I was using hand tools. This meant I could do it in a small space, about 10 foot by 10 foot. I could do it around the kids. It was safe for them to be in the shop when I was woodworking. I couldn't do that in the past. I was working in the basement, and that meant I wasn't tracking dust all throughout the house because honestly, you can sweep up curls and they're not gonna go go all over the place. I could do it while the kids were napping, as long as I wasn't pounding out mortises. I was having an absolute blast. And there were like 40, 50 people who were interested in what I was doing, and I thought that was really, really cool. But the fun had to end, and Matt Cremona showed one of the videos that I had made, and overnight I went from 40, 50 subscribers to over 400. At that point I realized, wait a second, this could be something more than just a dumb hobby in the basement of making something. I might be able to do something with this. There are actually people who are interested in what I'm doing, and maybe Wood by Wright could actually be something. So I started doing a shop report, a once weekly overview of what I've been doing and how projects were coming along and what was happening. And that worked really well at the time. Now that wouldn't work, but back then it did. I started talking to my wife, convincing her that maybe I could get this space over here that was storage space and we could turn it into a full shop. And then I could have a space that was 10 foot by 20 feet. Woohoo! Yeah, it's way more space than I need, but with that space I could build a dining room table. The channel started to grow, and it slowly morphed from a hobby into a job. It actually started to make some money. It wasn't huge, it was a couple $100 a month. But a couple $100 a month was really nice. That allowed us to do some other things because we had been scrimping and scraping trying to live on one income. And as about 50 to 60,000 of you know, the reason you're here is that dining room table I mentioned earlier. That build, apparently people liked that, and that one video went bonkers. It was my first video to cross 100,000 views. The channel was blowing up, but the videos that were doing well were the ones where I wasn't talking, I wasn't teaching, I was just building something. And people really wanted to see those videos. But because I was doing a lot of teaching and talking, that really drove a lot of people away who were coming for just the build videos. And so I made the decision to split the channel into one where I do all the teaching, this one, and one where I would just do talking on the old one. And that worked great because this channel didn't grow much. It didn't do much, but it was where I put my passion because I like teaching, I like explaining, I like talking through things. Whereas the other channel didn't really have my passion, but it did have all the viewers and subscribers and everyone was really liking that. And for about 6 months, that worked out phenomenally. A lot of people liked that I split them. That way people could just watch what they wanted to watch. But as with anything YouTube, it changed. And for some reason, people want to watch less and less of the easy watching, no talking, and now they want to learn more and more and have more of the how-to videos. And so this channel started to take off a bit and actually started to catch up to the other one. And for a while, they were right about the same amount of people watching both of them, the same amount of view time. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool because this one, this how-to channel, this is where my passion is. This is where I want to explain things and talk through things. And I'm glad that people like that as well, but we'll have fun with this. But one of the things I've found is that YouTube never stays the same. They rolled out shorts. And I know a lot of you absolutely hate shorts, and honestly, I'm not a huge fan of them. But a very, very large population of the world loves shorts, and especially with the younger crowd, who I would really love to get more younger people into working with hand tools. They like shorts, so I thought, let's experiment and play with shorts. That was a good idea. This is a chart of the subscribers and views for Wood by Wright. Can you tell when I started to do shorts? Yeah, that's what happened. Apparently, it has brought a whole new life to the channel, and now this channel is growing beyond anything I've ever seen in the past. It is currently exploding, and I'm blown away. I didn't realize that many people wanted to watch a 56-second video of someone talking about a hand tool really quickly and then making a dumb joke and disappearing. But here we are today, and I have no idea what's going to happen in the future, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how YouTube's going to change, what is going to happen. And I will probably flex and change with it, but you can be guaranteed that it's on this channel and we'll be having teaching. I want to talk about hand tools. I want to talk about the love I have for them, and I want to talk about woodworking. I enjoy it. I love it. That is where my passion, that is where my love is. And because of that, I actually get to make an income from this and do what I love. So who knows, maybe someday here soon. So where do I want to take Wood by Wright into the future? Well, one thing I would love to do is I would love to get it up to the point where my wife can fully quit her job. We're at the point where I might be able to let her quit, but maybe not. I don't know if we want to go back onto that one income right now, and I'd rather have a little bit of cushion in case something happens with YouTube, because you never know in the future. But I would love to have her on here, and that would allow us to offer so much more. So maybe at some point in the future, I'll be able to bring my wife on full time and maybe bring the kids in to do some video work and things of that nature. I want to keep it into a small group. I don't want to create a production team to make productions. I want to have something that's still fun and relatable and enjoyable, and a guy sitting in front of his camera and talking to a random audience out there that actually likes to listen to this weird, dumb stuff about hand tools. So if you're getting started on YouTube, I have a few recommendations for you. Number one, get consistent. It's got to have a video coming out every week, if not multiple times a week. Consistency is absolutely key. If you are not consistent, YouTube won't push your videos. Number two, love what you do. If you find that you're not loving it, you won't be making any money at it. Your videos won't be doing well. The people won't be wanting to watch what you're doing if you're not loving it. I've seen quite a few channels die off because they just weren't enjoying what they were doing. Yes, you may enjoy it at the beginning and it may start to wane off, but as long as you keep finding something in the project that really intrigues you, something that makes you want to keep going, then people will want to watch that because people want to see something that someone else is encouraged about. Number three, right now, if you're not doing shorts, start doing them. Make something quick and informative, teach them something new or intriguing, make them smile, and send them on their way. And YouTube does notice that, and they'll start pushing your videos out eventually. Number four, get into the community. Get to know the other YouTubers out there, get to know some of the other people who are doing things, and help them out. I'm not saying go to them and ask them for things. I'm saying help them out. Do something for them that will help them out. The more relationships you build, the more that will help you. And if you ever do want to do a collaboration with something, offer them something for it. Say, hey, I can make this video for you, or I can help you out with something. That will cause them to want to work with you. And if you ever do want to reach out to me, I'm more than open to collaboration ideas. Part of getting that group is actually meeting in person. If you can make it to Workbench Con, that is by far the best place to be for a maker. If you are wanting to make YouTube videos for a living, you have got to go to Workbench Con. It is incredible. If you're in Europe, go to Makers Central. It's a great place to hobnob, and I've been there a couple times as well. Whatever you do, make sure you are real, make sure you are honest, make sure that you show your mistakes and have fun in the shop. Focus on the points that intrigue you, and you're going to find an audience that is also intrigued on those same points. So I know this is a very different video, and I hope you like it. If you found something interesting on here or something you learned, let me know that in the comments down below. If you have any thoughts, comments, suggestions, ideas, you know what this is. This is YouTube and how it helps us out. Thank you. And also, I do like reading through the comments. I do read through all of them. It is getting hard for me to do it, and at some point here, I'm going to have to stop reading through every single comment. But as of right now, I do read them all. And on top of that, there are a bunch of names over here. Those are all patrons on Patreon. Without patrons, we wouldn't exist. Yes, financially, you guys help us, but honestly, with the encouragement and all of the communications and just helping us along the way, patrons and members have done far more than I can possibly say. So if you'd like to find out more about that and become a patron or a member, you know what to do. Click the join button, click the thank you button, go down below. Thank you. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So I think that'll do it for now. And until next time, have a wonderful day. So where exactly did wood by Wright come from? Well, that's a conversation you probably should have with your parents.